Hey, how's it going, Wayfinders? Today we are taking a quick look at the latest patch just a few days after the mid-season content update part 2 drop, and this brings some changes to a couple of fan favorites, Arcstorm and the Tempest. Both of these weapons are receiving a few nerfs to their weapon ability damage output, and is the first round of balance changes in the airship team's goal to bridge the gap between the gun weapon type and melee weapons. First up, we have Arcstorm, which has had its weapon ability scaling reduced by 17%, and no longer affected by the bonus weapon power from active reload. Keep in mind these changes are specific to Arc Beam, the weapon ability, and not the normal fire damage sequences. The Tempest is also receiving a few changes in that the weapon ability Bulletstorm has had its damage reduced by 25%. This ability no longer builds Eagle Eye meter and cannot spawn an Eagle Eye target. Also, when Bulletstorm is firing, you will no longer be able to continue shooting normal shots during this time. Obviously, these weapons have been some heavy hitters for quite some time, and many expected some number tuning to happen eventually. These weapons should still prove to be quite lethal, especially their normal shots, as the damage tuning was unchanged there. We are seeing a round of buffs for one weapon, and this is for Hellswarm, the other shotgun available to players. The radius of the weapon ability Volcano has been increased by 37%, and this applies to the meteors that are falling, meaning that they will hit more targets as their damage radius is increased. This weapon ability previously struggled with the RNG of meteors falling and focused damage to specific enemies, so it will be interesting to see if this is enough to rely on the ability more confidently. There were also a few bug fixes applied with this small patch, including fixes to the invisibility bug when fighting the Reaver King and Marrow. The Equilibrium Echo buff should no longer be removed on death. Players should no longer automatically travel to Deepwood Holt after completing activities. You may need to travel a few times for this fix to kick in. The Reaver King artifact has also been fixed and no longer overrides crit chance values, but instead correctly adds to it. The Hollow One root should now spawn correctly for the Roots of Evil quest, and the visual cue hints for the Ring of Ashes side quests have been improved. Lastly, the team will continue to look into bringing weapons and weapon types more in line with each other in the future, as well as improving the viability of choosing defensive stats and ability power for players. That does it for this patch recap. Keep an eye out for guides and overview videos on the way for all of the mid-season content update part 2. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.